Oh, hi.
Hello there.
I'm setting you up in my living room.
Oh, awesome.
Is it just us?
For right now, yeah, it might just be that.
Oh, boy. Special. How are you doing?
I'm good. Just trying to find stuff that keeps me a little bit occupied. So,
Uh-huh.
how about
Okay, well, I
you?
think I'm going to take my video off. Unless you want me
That
to keep my video on.
that's fine. I can also pin mine.
But you should be on, of course.
Yeah, and that should stay there. So,
You
yay.
let me know whether you want. Oh, that's a cool studio.
Yeah, I like
That's
our
a
little
studio.
space here. It's a not very wide and kind of long. I think at some point maybe it was the garage, um,
Uh-huh.
but
Sweet.
yeah, they've like I think it's among maybe somebody had kind of set it up as an office. It looked like there's like cable inputs and things out here, but
Uh-huh.
the foundation is maybe a little questionable. You know,
I'm going to
so
see if I can turn the volume up.
yeah, as long as you can see me or hear me, so that should. Uh,
Oh, my TV? Oh,
huh?
yeah. Oh,
Oh,
yeah. I've got you on my TV. See? There you are.
oh, hey. Yeah, I finally figured out how to do that with a few things, and it was like, oh, this is super cool. So like YouTube videos
Yeah.
like that was
It's
like,
definitely a few things. I've had to jerry rig stuff.
yeah,
Whoa.
heck, there it is, and now you have it.
Well,
Yay.
I think I'm going to mute myself.
Okay, but really quick before you do, are there any either special requests or any particular like aches and pains or anything like that that you've been dealing with?
Oh, non-mobility related, hips and back and, because
Okay.
like I've been not terribly mobile, obviously.
Right. Yeah, I think that's a lot of people are experiencing that. So we're spending a lot more time sitting and staring at our computers because nothing else is happening.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Well, I
cool.
sent this to a few people, but I'll try to send it to more people.
Yeah, and then like and things are always kind of evolving. So there may be some other opportunities at other times during the week that I'm going to open up. Definitely, though, for now, the Monday at this time is going to keep going for at least a bit. So mostly,
Yeah, well, that's good.
yeah.
I wonder if this is successful for you, if you'll have this like regular, even when
Um,
Jim's.
yeah, we'll see. It's one of those where it's like, who knows? Like,
Yeah.
who knows what all's gonna happen? So gonna just ride it
Mhm.
out. So yeah, only things that you'll really, I mean, if you've got a mat, great. If you don't, that's also
I
not
do.
okay.
I've got a 5 pound weight.
Okay, and you've got to wait. So I think
I've
we
got resistance bands.
cool. And then if you have either a yoga, like I also sometimes will have like a yoga block or something handy, just in case I need to grab it for any reason. So.
Yeah, I don't have that, but I do have a smaller weight. Maybe I'll go grab that.
Yeah, so yeah, just have both of them.
Okay.
Yeah, cool. This is going to be just so I can see. Let's see. Okay, that's different timers. All right, so let's start off on the floor. Work with
Okay, you're not gonna end. Let me just do a,
yeah. Just let you know where and how we're going to start off. So as you come down, just let your feet step to the floor and knees are bent. You can let your knees just fall in towards each other, finding a little support there. That might feel really good for your low back. Let your head and your shoulders, the back of your rib cage, everything is just kind of gently pressing down toward the floor. Maybe a little length in the spine. Feeling the expand and contract of your rib cage as you're breathing. And just let your arms and hands relax off to the side. Let the front of your shoulders relax down toward the mat. As if you were maybe gently had like a weighted blanket or something on top of your body that's just very gently pressing you down toward the floor. Allowing for that rise and fall of the belly and your breath. And we're going to bring our awareness down to that space in and around our belly button, the outside of the hip bones, and the tip of the pubic bone, like it's a bowl. And if you haven't already, think about that space underneath your low back. And you're going to make that space between your low back and the mat go away. Letting your tailbone tuck underneath your body a little bit. Kind of think like a little scared puppy dog tail. It tucks under. You can continue to still have the knees press in toward each other. You might feel a little activation in the glutes. That's your butt cheeks, in that area right where the back of your leg and your butt connects. And then letting that space between your low back and the mat return. So we're finding this little pelvic tuck, letting the belly button draw down toward the floor and in. Engaging the pelvic floor. Just a gentle hold. You don't need to squeeze those muscles. Just pressing down into the floor and then rolling, creating that little space for the low back. We're giving ourselves a little low back of the hips massage onto the floor. And bringing your hips into stillness. Find that back into that imprint space. So we're going to take away any space underneath the low back, press it down towards the floor. Walk your heels in, close to your body, little space in between the knees. And then you can press your hands down on the floor, palms down, arms out. And we're going to be lifting the hips up toward the ceiling. So as you find your inhale and then you exhale, press the feet, your whole foot, from heel to toes into the floor. Lift the hips up as high as they can. Let the front of the body open up. Shoulders just stay down away from the ears. As you're holding in this position, you're activating the muscles in the back of your legs, your hamstrings, your glutes. Press maybe those hips up just a little bit higher. And then allow everything to return back down toward the floor, moving through the spine, getting a little movement happening there. We're going to do 5 more of these. So with your inhale and then exhale, pressing those hips up as high as they can, you're going to take a rounded breath up at the top. Inhale and exhale, and then bringing the hips and the back all the way back down to the mat. Keep your eyebrows relaxed. Keep your jaw relaxed. Press the hips up. Taking the breath there and bringing them back down. It helps. You can breathe in through the nose and out through the mouth. Sometimes having the mouth open a little bit helps relax the jaw, especially if you've been dealing with a lot of anxiety and stress. So I'm going to try to just let it relax, not clench our teeth and brace ourselves. And one last one, lifting the hips up nice and high, press those feet into the floor, feel the engagement through the back side of the body as the front of the body opens up, and then bring the hips and the back down to the floor. And we're going to curl those knees in toward the chest. You can grab them with your hands. Kind of curl like a little ball. If you feel like rolling a little bit side to side or up and down, just gently. It doesn't have to be a big movement at all. And then we're going to be placing one foot down on the floor. Doesn't really matter which one, it can be the right or the left. And the other foot, pointed toes, is reaching up toward the ceiling. And we're going to be taking it and drawing a circle up on the ceiling with our toes. You can go either direction. Just taking a nice circle using that whole leg as if it were your writing instrument. You're trying to draw as smooth of a circle up on the ceiling that you can see as you go around. So we're encouraging the top of the leg and that hip joint to find just a little movement through it. Doesn't have to be big. And then take your circle the other direction. Whichever way you were going, reverse your circle. Go ahead and take that 2 more times around. Little circle, point those toes. And then when you're done with your second circle, you're going to bring that foot down to the floor, and we're going to bring the other one up, pointing the toes, extending like you're reaching up toward the ceiling. Hips are staying down on the floor. And you're taking your circle around. You're also trying to keep your other knee is bent and pointing up toward the ceiling. So notice if that other knee starts kind of wandering around a little bit. Keep that engagement. This is helping stabilize through our pelvis. Keeping that other leg active as you make your little circle. One more time around, and then we're going to switch directions. And then switch, go the opposite way. Taking this circle around. And just noticing and observing if there's anything happening. Maybe it feels super smooth and comfortable on one side, and a little more herky-jerky on the other. And just pay attention to that. Might be an area of your body that's needing a little special love and attention. A lot of times if we're sitting in chairs or maybe you have to work on a couch, they're not the most ergonomically designed. It's really easy to sit in positions that throw us on the alignment of it. So one more circle here, and then bring that leg back down. And now we're going to take both toes up toward the ceiling, pointed. Low back is pressed down toward the mat. And then we're going to flex the foot. So you're going to curl those toes back. So you should be able to kind of see the tips of your toes. Bend the knees a little bit here. And it's like you're trying to hold the ceiling up with the whole sole of your foot from your heel to the ball of your foot, the toes curled back. And then you're going to bring the arms up, reaching those fingertips toward the ceiling, let your shoulders press down into the floor, producing a bent leg here, position for our dead bug. And then what you're going to try to do is reach one hand, so say your right hand, those fingertips toward the toes. A little bit on one side, and then try to reach for the other side. While you throw these small movement, you can bend your legs. I have mine a bit bent here. And I'm one side or the other. I'm gently tapping the tip of my toe, the tip of my fingers. I'm hitting kind of either my ring finger or my middle finger. Making sure you just keep breathing. And just find a nice steady pace. You don't have to go super fast. Just activating some of those deeper core muscles, our obliques, transverse abdominis, and also helping our low back muscles just lengthen out a little bit. They have lots of support from the floor. So kind of what we're doing here is an equivalent to taking a forward fold. We flipped it upside down. And one more time, tap those toes toward each hand, and then bring the feet down to the floor. Bending the knees, let the knees fall in towards each other. Bringing the arms out to the side, palms up like airplane wings. Then we're going to bend the elbows. Tips of the fingers are heading in the same direction as the top of your head, so you might kind of look like a funky cactus. Allowing the front of the shoulders to open up. And if the front of your rib cage is kind of pushed up and toward the ceiling, I want you to imagine again, you have that little bit of like a little weighted pillow that's resting on the front of your rib cage that's gently pressing it back down toward the floor. So I'm going to say gentle pressure. You don't need to hold on or hold your breath. But what we're doing here is we're encouraging, especially those mid-back muscles, to activate a little bit while our shoulders and chest open up, counteract any of the sitting and hunching over that we've been doing. And then rolling onto one side or the other. And then we're going to come up onto our knees. I recommend being crossways of your back, so kind of like a crisscross or perpendicular. And what we're going to be doing is getting ourselves into a side plank position, but going from this way is actually a bit easier than trying to press yourself up through the floor. So from this position, you also want to have your toes untucked, your heels are behind your hips, and use a little glute squeeze to kind of press your hips forward. And then what we're going to do is taking one arm, you're going to lean over and tilt over like you're trying to put your hand on the floor. Hand goes on the floor, other leg comes out to the side. So we're in this side plank position here. So we're able to keep the lower obliques and the side of the body here engaged, and the upper part, top of the rib cage, all the way down to the hip flexors gets a little bit of opening. So we're going to take that top arm, reach it up toward the ceiling, and then with your exhale, you're going to let the arm come down toward the head, nice and long. So you're stretching all the way from the tip of your fingers down to the tip of your toes, and then bring the hand back up here. So we're working in this side plank position. You might also feel that bottom leg, the hip, and the glute working a little bit. It has to stabilize. So just let that arm just reach down and up. Whatever your range of motion is fabulous. One more time with the arm. Reach it down and then up. Good. And then we're going to place the hand on the hip. Bring the leg in, both knees back to the mat, and we're going to take it to the other side. So same idea. So you're doing a little side bend. You're going to lean over, let the hand come down, extend that opposite leg. Still keeping the hips, so don't let them sag back toward that back foot. Trying to keep the hips roughly over the knee and the calf here. And then that top arm is going to extend. And then same thing, we're just going to let the arm come down, reach close to the side of the head, and then coming back up to the starting position. As you're doing this, you might feel some muscle stretch and action happening all the way down into the top of your leg, as the hip flexors connect into our quadriceps muscles. We're also making our lower leg and glutes hold and stabilize and activate. One more time with the arm. Reach down. Good. And then coming back onto both knees here. Okay. All right. We're going to be coming down, staying on our mat for all fours. So we're going to work with our little cat to cow to child's pose. A little more spine mobility before we get into some of the meat and potatoes and things happening here. So we want the knees right under the hips, hands and elbows underneath the shoulders. You can have the toes tucked or untucked. That's your preference. I like mine untucked here. And we're going to start from the tailbone. So we're going to start by tucking that tailbone under, again, like a little scared puppy dog tail. And then let that movement continue up the spine, top of the head, until your chin tucks in, top of the head is pointing down towards your mat. And then we're going to let the belly and the chest reach down toward the floor, with the head Look up ahead, tailbone lifts up behind you. Letting the back of your legs lengthen a little bit. And then we're gonna round up again. Chin tucks under, head comes down, tail tucks under. And then pressing into your palms of your hands, shifting your weight back. Hips toward the heels. Arms are still extended, staying in that same place. And then as you come forward, you're gonna bend the arms, elbows stay hugged in, but let the belly and the chest reach down toward the floor, finding that cow pose as we move back to our tabletop starting position. And rounding up the spine again, pushing it back, looking forward in between the hands, keeping the elbows in, let the belly and the chest hang down. So finding this articulation and movement of the spine, and just take note of any areas where your body feels free, like the movement happens very easily. And then the other areas where maybe things are a little crunchy, a little stiff, and a little sticky. One more time, round up through the spine, press back, come forward. Nice. So then go ahead and have a sit. If you can, sit back comfortably on your feet or just have a comfortable seat. We're going to do a little movement for the arms, for the forearms especially. If you have a light weight, something like usually 1 to 2 to 3 pounds works fabulously. We're just going to use, we'll start off with the your non-dominant hand, meaning this is not the hand that you pick up a pencil and you write with. So this one, and we're going to be extending it out in front of us, but from the shoulder, kind of like you would in, like from your bird dog position here. And what we're going to be doing is we're going to be rotating it for palm up, and then rotating it all the way for palm down. Letting the whole arm move from the shoulder all the way down. And I'm going to try to keep my knuckles and wrist and elbow at about the same height as my shoulder, which is not always the easiest thing to do. If this feels a little too intense with the weight, then just go with an open palm. So palm up and palm down. This little movement here. And kind of notice, is it happening in the shoulder, the forearm, the biceps? Actually, I'm noticing my biceps are a little bit tight today, which is not surprising. I'm going to spend a lot of time knitting. My arms are bent. So I'm going to put my arms being a little tight. And then bring the arm down, and then we're going to switch that weight to the other side. So it's your hand that you normally write with. Same thing, it's going to extend right on out, but no higher than the shoulder. And then we're going to be rotating that palm up and rotating that palm down. And noticing that since you're using your dominant hand, this may feel like effortless, especially if it felt challenging on the other side. Noticing here, and see if you can let the whole arm rotate at pretty much the same time, rather than it being a twist through the wrist or through the elbow. And one more time, down to up. There we go. And then just let the arm come down. Excellent. Now we're going to reach both hands out, palms up, no weights. And I'm going to turn sideways just so you can see what I'm doing. So from here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to start this movement with my fingertips. So it's like they're like, I don't know, like snakes, unless you're terrified of snakes and something friendly. So it's like it's popping its head up and it's taking a look at you. And then it's coming in, curling in, let the elbows stay up nice and high, about level with your shoulders. And as much as you can, bring your arms in, curling them so the backs of your fingertips touch onto your shoulders. And then we're going to slowly unfurl these. So the arms are all the way back out and straight. Yeah, palms open, extend the fingertips, give the hands a bit of a stretch. Stretch the space in between the fingers. And we're going to do that one more time. So curling from the fingertips, let it curl in through the hand, through the wrists. Maybe feel a little stretch on the back of the arm. Back of the hand reaches toward the shoulders, elbows are going to stay up. And then slowly uncurl them. Feeling these little muscles work in the hands and arms. And then just let your arms just relax, heavy down at your sides. Okay, then we're going to bring ourselves into our bird dog position. So all fours. Okay, let me see if we have, oh, I do have this that can work. All right, so you do have a little timer. So what we're going to work with is we're going to do our friend, those punchy bird dogs.
Hey,
Yay! I know, this is kind of fun. So you can
did you
either
hear me?
one weight or one at each side. And so again, what these are, if you haven't done them in a while, is hand and arm, opposite arm and leg extends, arm goes out to the side, and then pulls in. So we're going to work the same arm and leg combination for 30 seconds, and then we'll do the other side. So I'm going to have a little timer here. So grabbing your weight, getting ready, extending that arm, sweep it around, bring it in, forward, out, and in. Keeping your back as level as you can. Your hand that's still on the mat, let those fingers spread nice and wide so they can support your weight. That's part of why we did those arm activation exercises. So your arms can support you. Excellent. Now we're going to switch to the other side. So either shift your weight or grab the weight on the other side.
5 seconds.
All right, getting ready. Here we go. Forward, out, and in. You let that arm stay extended out, unless you're going to crash into something. I'm realizing my body is a little close to me here. There we go. 10 seconds. Push forward, out and in.
5 seconds.
Finding your breath. There you go. Nice. Good. Well, now it's time to setting the weights down. It's just going to be the leg. So what we're going to do is it's going to be a bent leg, kick up behind, come in, and go out to the side. Leg kicks back up, and then goes out to the side. So we're doing a little single leg donkey kick, and a single leg fire hydrant or tree. Go out to the side, and let it move from the hip as much as you can. Probably that other leg working to stabilize. Up, out. Good. Both knees down. And then we're going to take it over to the other leg. Same thing. Fingers spread nice and wide on the mat. Leg is going to stay bent. Taking it up behind. Bring it down and out to the side. And up and out. Up. There you go. Connect with your breath. If there's any spots where you find yourself holding your breath, just let that out. Breathing through.
5 seconds.
Good. All right. Have a little rest, and we're going to go back into our bird dog again. So each side, 30 seconds. Getting your weight ready here. Go forward. And you can pick whichever side you want to work on. Doesn't really matter. Press it forward and in. Nice, long, steady breath.
5 seconds.
All right, switch over to the other side. We have our our little rest transition time.
5 seconds.
Getting ready. And go. This is a pretty good little heat generator. All these muscles having to hold, all the others move.
5 seconds.
Give the arms a rest, and go back to the legs. Gonna do that one side with the kick. Kick up and back. And then knee out to the side. Goes back and under. Try and see if you can keep your shoulders level with each other. Keeping the back as still and stable as you can. Other leg is active, it gets the balance.
5 seconds.
Getting ready to take that onto the other side, other leg.
Thank you. 5 seconds.
Back leg. And out. See if you can keep your weight level over both hands. Avoid that roll completely onto one side. Good. And take a little rest. Need to grab a little water. I'm gonna turn off my little heater in here. And it is now warming up. Yay. Now we got everything. Arms and legs a little more activated. Bits off of here. Okay. All right, our next ones is we're not going to need anything other than the mat. We're going to be working from moving from our forearm plank position, coming up into from forearm plank to high plank, and then pressing back into a downward dog. So your starting position, and you can do this when you have your knees down as well. So elbows are right under the shoulders, and elbows and hands are about no wider than shoulder distance apart. If you have your knees down, make sure you walk. You can untuck your toes while you're in the plank position. What we're going to do is we're going to be going from our forearm plank, walking the hands, the palms come to where the elbows were, and then you're going to tuck the toes and let those hips shift up for finding your downward dog position. And then going back into your high plank, you can either drop the knees down or not, and then bring those elbows back down. So we're going to have 30 seconds where we're working through this one, but we still have a little bit of our rest here. About 10 seconds, so finding your forearm plank position and getting ready.
5 seconds.
And taking it up into your plank, pressing the hips back and your downward dog. And bringing it all back down to the floor. There you go. Up. And then downward dog. And then back down the plank and forearm plank.
5 seconds.
Keeping that belly button pulled back toward the spine. And then from here, come down all the way onto your belly. Let your head rest on your arms. We're going to be kicking our heels in toward our tailbone here. Just one leg at a time, nice and lazy. Just kick and the knee. You can keep the top of your thigh on your mat. Belly button still pulls in toward the spine. Want to keep a little of that glute engagement. We're just doing little hamstring curls.
5 seconds.
And then from here, we're going to come up into our a little sphinx position. So elbows are underneath shoulders, our hips are still pressed on the mat. And what you're going to be doing is reaching one arm and putting that back down, and then reaching the other arm out in front and putting that down. You can keep your legs pressing down into the mat. For your glutes, find that space between the glutes and hamstrings and see if you can keep that engaged. That will help keep this out of your low back. And you're just reaching forward. Back of the neck is going to stay nice and relaxed. And then for this one, we're going to take this time, let the head come all the way down and look to one side. Let the elbows
5 seconds.
rest on the floor. And we're going to just take a little stretch here for the neck. Nice deep breaths. Feeling the front of the body supported. You can be looking to either one side or the other with your cheek down on the floor.
Five seconds.
And we're going to take this little neck stretch over to the other side. So looking in the opposite direction. Still just letting your arms be supported by the floor. Toes are untucked. Back is relaxed. Just nice deep breaths. Let the back and the neck relax.
Five seconds.
And then we're going to start from the top with that plank to down dog. So coming back into your forearm plank
5
position.
seconds.
Knees can be down or toes are tucked with knees up. And then taking it up into your plank. And then pressing the hips back for your downward dog. You can bend your knees or straighten your legs. And then come back into your plank. And then come down the forearms. If you feel too unstable or wobbly, you can do it all coming through the knees in the center.
5 seconds.
We're going to come down again. We're going to work with those little hamstring curls again. So resting the forehead on the arms. This time bring the legs out wider than the mat. And then you're just going to do those little curls in. Heel is coming in toward the center of your glutes. So the front of your leg, your quads stay on the floor. We're just asking for this little movement. Squeezing the heel in. And extending and then doing the opposite side. See if you can keep your hips nice and stable so they don't rock.
5 seconds.
All right, we're going to bring the legs in together. And so this time we're going to work with a scorpion stretch. So you're going to
5
look,
seconds.
one cheek is down, and you're going to extend that arm out so you can look at it, and then look away from your hand. Other hand comes in, you're going to take your leg over the top, or maybe it just rests on top of the other leg. So you have a little stretch and twist here. You're looking away from the arm that's extended. And place your fingertips of your other hand on the mat.
5 seconds.
We're going to roll through the belly, extending the opposite arm, walking the hand that was extended in under the shoulder, look away from the extended arm, and then give yourself a little roll over here. You can let your top leg reach down toward the floor, or just rest right on top of your other leg with that knee bent. This makes for a nice gentle-ish movement for the spine, hips and shoulders, the neck.
Halfway there.
And rolling back onto the belly, coming down. So we are going to, let's see,
Timer pause.
pause that for a moment, because I will actually restart that one. Okay, so for our next little series, we are going to be up on our feet. And you'll want to have, you can have either your lighter weights or heavy weights nearby. We'll get to do a little standing series. Okay. Cycle left. Okay, cool. Okay, so what this one's gonna look like, the first one is we're gonna be working with moving through overhead press with the weights or no weights, and then bending the knees, so we come down into like our chair pose, and then bringing the hands down, taking that into even a bit more of a squat position, and then standing back up again. So we're going from standing to our chair pose, hands are gonna come down by the legs, and then we're gonna bring them back up overhead again as we move through this. Okay, resuming. Okay, we still have a little bit on our rest cycle. All right, good. Yeah, you can actually see me pretty well for this one. So, yeah. So feet are hip distance apart, knees are a little bit soft. If it's comfortable for you, you can also take the feet a little wider than the hips if you like. Knees are soft and bent, pelvis is neutral. Reach those arms up overhead, sitting down in that invisible chair. Arms are going to come out in front, tailbone is reaching down toward the floor, and then my arms are going to come down by my legs. I hinge forward a little bit, and then swinging them forward, coming back up. Coming down into my invisible chair, arms come down, pushing the floor and up. Coming down, let the arms come down, and up. Good. Hands are going to come down by the sides of the legs. We're going to work with a little side bend. Knees are soft.
5 seconds.
We're just going to be working with the side of the rib cage coming closer to the hips. One leg is going to not reach. One weight reaches down the leg and then comes up and over the other side. So make sure you're going directly over the side. It's like you're trying to put your weight into a pocket that's around your knee, rather than leaning forward or leaning backwards. And let there be a little bit of bend in the knees.
5 seconds.
And then the rib cage compress onto the one side. Nice. Then we're going to be taking the arms, shoulder height, one palm up and one down. Step the feet out a little bit wider. We're going to be going into a side lunge toward your hand that has the palm up. So reach up, come back to center. Lunge toward the side that has a palm up, whether it's holding a weight or not. And just lunge into the side. Upper body is staying upright. Arms are relatively going to stay out by the shoulders. Let the top of your shoulders relax. Shoulder blades slide down the back.
5 seconds.
Breathing is nice and steady. Let the arms come down for a moment. We're going to take that same movement, but over to the other side. So getting yourselves ready here.
5
Flip the
seconds.
other palm over. And then you're going to take your lunge over toward that hand. Lunging, side, side. Feeling your whole foot press into the floor. Weight shift over and back. Top of the shoulders stay down. There you go. Breathing.
5 seconds.
All right, let the arms come down nice and relaxed. So for this one, what we're going to work with is we're going to be maintaining our squat position. Knees and toes are forward or turned out a little bit, and you're doing a little lean over to each side. Keep the back of your body nice and long. These are our squat touchdowns. This is going to make your quads work. If you're having to hold this position, let your hips come down a little further maybe. Tailbone is still reaching down-ish toward the floor. You don't want it sticking out behind you. There, inside, and out. Good, nice. So bringing these feet in,
5 seconds.
switching toward one side of your mat, we're going to be stepping out into our side lunge and stepping back in. So stepping out, push off, bring it back. Give a good push with your foot. Arms are just hanging by the side, holding your weight. Push. Really activate with those legs. Push into the floor to push yourself back to the standing position. Push. There you go.
5 seconds.
Nice. Almost there. Good. And then walk yourself over to the other side. And we're going to do the other leg. Yeah. So as you step out into your lunge, see if you can land a little bit heel first. So heel, push off. Gives you a little more to push with, activates the back of your legs. Push. If you only land on your toes or the ball of your foot, that gets more of your calves and the front of your legs, which might be kind of uncomfortable. There you go. Out to the side and up. Out.
5 seconds.
There we go. And back. Nice. Good. So we're going to be working with our arms
5
here
seconds.
and one leg. Arms are by the sides. They're pressing backwards to squeeze those triceps. Extend the leg back behind. Bring it all down. Step back to the other side. So we're doing a leg extension. Squeeze and engage those triceps. Keeping the shoulders down the back. Even squeeze the shoulder blades together a little. Squeeze. Squeeze.
5
Squeeze.
seconds.
There you go. Squeeze. Feel those arms. Good. Nice. Let the arms get a little wiggle out. Now we're going to keep up from the top. Are reaching
5
up
seconds.
with our chair and squatting down. Bringing it up. Find your chair position. And then bring it all the way back up again. Down into your chair. Hands come down and then use your feet to push you back up. And down. Arms around front. And then a breath.
5 seconds.
Almost there. Down into your chair. Push it up. Good. Nice. And then we take our little side bend over side to side. Knees are nice and soft. Weights just reach down the legs. One side. Allowing that other side with the hip flexor plus the muscles in the low back. that connect your spine and your rib cage to your pelvis. Just gives them a little release.
5 seconds.
There we go. And then bringing those feet a little bit wider than the hips, we're going to work with our squat touchdown again. Let your knees go in the same direction as your
5
toes.
seconds.
So you're coming down, like you're sitting down into that deep chair. And then, as if you're trying to set the weight down on each side, similar to how you just did with your little side bend, but standing. Over you go. Push all of the feet into the floor, really feel those leg muscles activate. You're kind of tired and grumpy, telling you exactly where to go and how to get there.
5 seconds.
Almost there. All the way up. Good. Right? I know that one's kind of like, oh my goodness. And one last round with our tricep. Straight arm press back. And then extend that leg behind. This one's going to kind of stretch out a bit of what we just worked. Sometimes those stationary quad ones are gnarly. Press. Press.
Five seconds.
Almost there. And take a little pause. Can set the weights down. Grab a little water if you want to. Or for now, just stand nice, mellow, and gentle kickbacks. Meaning, I'm not going to pitch my upper body forward. I'm going to let my knee travel back behind and curl my hamstring. Still that glute activation. But this is really good for counteracting all the sitting. Yeah. Another one that's really good for this one is if you're stepping up and over, either like a chair or some obstacle in the way, letting it go out to the side, stirring into the top of the hip. But if you feel any pinching or have any noises that you're not comfortable with, then don't do something like this one. Yeah. So we're going to come back to finding our feet right under our hips here. Make sure there's a little space in between them, kind of as if you had either a block or ball or something in between your knees. So if you can, have your toes facing out towards whatever's in front of you. Knees are soft. If it helps, you can have your hands on the front of your hips or even in the space below your low belly here. So what we're going to work with is a little standing pelvic tuck, which is similar to what we did in the very beginning before we did our glute bridges. So finding that space from around the belly button down to the pubic bone and out for the hip bones. And we're going to draw all of that in. Let the tailbone tuck under just a little bit. Turn to the side here. So feeling that tailbone move underneath. And then feeling the tailbone moving behind you. Tailbone's going to continue to lift and let your upper body hinge forward. Knees stay soft. And then starting from the tailbone, let it initiate the movement. It starts to come underneath. And as it comes underneath, your upper body counteracts by coming up nice and tall. So we're working with a very slow hip hinge here. Letting things move back and away. Back stays flat. And all the hips, the pelvis. We get the knees and legs. All of that working. Well, Layla has decided to make her voice heard. Hi. Come on. Yeah. You can come in here, even though you're being a pest. Yes. Be my assistant. Right? Yeah. We're finding that pelvic movement here. And then we're going to step the feet even wider than the hips, melting down into a frog type squat. So you can take this fairly wide. You can have hands on your thighs, forearms on your knees, or if it's comfortable, you can bring your hands down to the floor and let the tailbone and the hip bone sink down to the floor. Here. Lay down. Lay down. Lay down. Hi, you're cute. Lay down. Thank you. Hi. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. And then walking your hands over toward one foot. You can come up onto the ball of the foot and then extend the opposite leg away. Apologize, the dog is kind of right in the frame of view. But we get this really low lunge to one side. And then bringing that foot back in. We're going to shift our weight using the hand. In my case, I'm going to pet the dog as I'm doing this. And extend the opposite leg. Yeah, you're very cute. Yes, you are. She's always pretty good for a complete and total interruption. Hi, yeah, oh, I have to pet your belly now? Okay. And then her response is usually, I need to be in whatever stretch position and then pet her belly. And then from here, bring that foot that's extended out back into the middle, and we're going to come down to sitting on the floor, legs out in front, so you can bring them into a bit of a V here. And just let the backs of your knees be nice and soft. And we're going to take one hand, fingertips to the floor, and we're going to walk it across, out away from our hip. And let yourself just lean over the side there. You can extend that arm as far to the side as feels comfortable, but try to keep that other hip that you're leaning away from, pressing down toward the floor. You don't want it to roll up and away. And wiggling the toes a little bit. And then we're going to walk the hand back in and take this to the other side. We're walking the other hand out of the way. Really cute. Hi. Hello. Yes. Pressing down with that other hip. And then coming in through the center, you can bring the feet in, soles of the feet come in toward each other. Just let the knees fall out to the side. And you don't have to bring the heels in really close in to the body here. Just let them just kind of fall out to the side. And just do a little like weight shift from side to side. And shifting over on the one side and then the other. Kind of like if you were a Weeble Wobble. I used to have a bunch of those crazy toys. I tried to make them tip over, which they only did after I got them wet in the bathtub, and then they would do all sorts of weird things. So they're not actually bath toys. And then bringing hands to the outside of the knees if they're not there already. Bringing the legs in together, and then letting the legs extend out in front. Softness behind the knees. But then letting your try and see if you can get your toes to separate and spread apart from each other in a few different directions. Let them spread nice and wide, all the whole while you're sitting up nice and tall, rib cages over the hips. So finding a little movement through the toes, maybe kind of like you're trying to pick something up. If you're wearing standard socks, you might not be able to see very much detail. So just letting it expand and contract. And then curl your foot. So I'm going to really curl my toes in toward my foot here. And I'm going to curl it in as much as I can. And then I'm going to flex it as much as I can. And then curl it back up. And extend. And curl. And one more time, extend. And then just let the legs just be heavy. Maybe give them a little gentle shake. Feeling out the weight and the heaviness of the muscles and the joints. Okay. And then you can bring them in so you are still seated but in a comfortable position. So whether it's cross-legged or back into this butterfly or cobbler's pose. And we're going to bring the fingertips to the back of the head. Elbows are out to the side. Head just rests right on the top of the spine here. And then we're going to pull the elbows in toward each other without ducking down into our chin or our chest. So gaze is still looking out ahead. So you can touch those elbows in toward each other. And then open them up nice and wide and squeeze the shoulder blades down the back. Kind of like you're trying to get that little itch in between your shoulder blades. Bring the tips of the elbows back in together. Shoulder blades come back. Tips of the elbows in. Shoulders back. And then keeping the elbows out here, we're just going to take a gentle twist, looking toward one side of the room to the other. So as you take an inhale, exhale, turn the shoulders in the rib cage, kind of like you're a sunflower. You're following the sun. So you're going and looking one direction. And then the sunny spot that you're looking for has moved, so you're going to turn and look the other direction. Nice and gentle. It might not be a big movement. And then in through the center, and then we're going to look up above. Really feel that extension through the mid-back rather than just through the back of your neck. And then we're going to look down toward the ankles and the feet. And then let the hands come down. Chin can stay tucked in toward the chest. Taking a couple nice deep breaths here. And then coming back up to sitting up nice and tall. That brings us to the end of the class. Good work. Woo. Yay.
Oh, I was never muted.
Oh, that's okay.
Okay. I'm glad I didn't, have any bodily functions or anything.
It's okay. Well, with the dog in here now, I probably would have just thought it was her.
Yeah. Well, that was wonderful. Thank you so much.
Yay! Yeah, it's really nice to get to move with you again.
Yeah, no kidding. Well, I'll see if I can't try to rally some of my Dragon Boat people who aren't doing anything for a couple of months because everything's canceled to see if you've got something possibly on Wednesday or that's.
I do. So on Wednesday, I've been just streaming it live on my Facebook profile. And I think I've been having that set to public, but it's a more like kind of functional movement and like using furniture for doing things.
Oh, I've got furniture.
Squats and planks and lunges and things like that. So that one's super low intensity and pretty low impact too. Like more just about like safe ways of moving. And also we'll talk about like some safe ways of like picking things up. So people can use like books, cans of food, bottles of wine, I don't know, whatever they got.
Awesome.
Yeah, and then Friday is Zumba or like dance cardio type of thing. So.
Okay, good, cool.
Yeah.
Well, anyways, nice seeing you. Thank you very much.
Good to see you too. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day.
You too.
All right. Take care.
Cheers.